throws. He lays out and makes the catch.
What is going on, everybody? We are back for another episode of the Double Switch podcast. We are here in June, and this is a big time of the year because this is when the Phillies show up. All the Phillies, Schwarbs, JT, Trey Turner, they all kind of collectively decided that the season's going to start now. And it's been a good week. We kind of beat the crap out of the Tigers, who are not good. But we took it to the Dodgers, who are good. Took 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers. And, it's setting up to kind of be a blank slate type June for us. We're right around 500. And we still hold our fate in our own hands, and it's always a good spot to be in. You never want to play yourself out of it and have to play yourself back into it. And we're right where we need to be after all of that. We're a game and a half out of the wild card, and weather's getting nice out, and it's starting to feel like the baseball season. As weird as that sounds, we're getting into it now.
Yeah, absolutely right. We are. It really is. They should just kind of cancel April and May for the Phillies. Just tell them not show up because it was pretty ugly, and we all definitely fought through that period in time. But it is nice to know that we're not the hole we're in is not that deep, and it's June 13th. We're fine. Everyone can clearly see now after these past series, this team can produce the highest level.
Yeah, big storylines come June. The biggest is probably always going to be June Schwarber, which is it's become a theme, and it's so insane to me how precise he is with the June heating up. It does not make sense. It's 100%. It's got to be mental. He has to. He probably had a hot June at one point, and now he thinks that June's just hitting time. And he picks it up in June like nobody else, and I'll never understand it because baseball players shouldn't work on a schedule like that. But you got to feel pretty good about what you're seeing out of Schwarber, especially with that average trickling towards 150. A couple weeks ago. Yeah, I mean, just it's crazy what he tends to do come June.
Yeah, it's really like nothing I've ever seen before. I mean, the promptness, like it is June 1st. Like that is like a flip switches. And I wondered if maybe it was like something like he needs a certain amount of at-bats until he just feels right at the plate. But that doesn't make sense.
None of it makes sense. A baseball player should not be on a strict schedule like that. But baseball's so weird in that players are. And with Schwarber getting hot, we already had Castellanos kind of crushing the ball all season. But with Schwarber getting hot, the pressure kind of gets taken off some of the guys batting behind him, because hitting's contagious. Every baseball player's heard that since they were 5 years old. And Schwarber gets on more. Schwarber's driving in more runs. The pressure's off of Trey Turner, who we've kind of seen come around lately as well. And JT Realmuto, who just last night hit for a cycle for the first time in, I want to say 19 years, 2003 or 4, which is crazy because the cycles, it's rare, but it's not like insane.
Well, I think that was the last time a catcher had done it, right?
No, that was David Bell. David Bell was the last Philly to do it in 2004.
Yeah, 2004.
I don't know about the catcher. I'd imagine it's not super common for catchers if I had to guess.
No, you don't see catchers getting triples. But
no, yeah.
Congrats to JT, man. That was I stayed up for the first 2 hits, but certainly didn't make it for the final.
I think he wrapped it up after midnight on the East Coast, which is, I don't know about you, but it's way past my bedtime. Way past.
Yeah, I kind of wish I stayed up though. It was probably pretty cool to watch.
Yeah, no, it's awesome seeing JT, and for as much as we make a big deal out of Schwarber in June, JT kind of does the same thing. I don't know what it is about this veteran core that we've assembled, but it's a slow starting team. It's probably something that we should expect, and we'll never be able to know exactly why it is. But last year, I remember JT just a brutal start, and this year he was pretty bad for the first 2 months of the season. But he is heating up just like he did last season. And with him getting hot, I mean, you're talking 4 or 5 people now who can leave their impact on the game with the bat. And yeah, it's going to kind of turn into a slugfest here come summertime, and that's pretty much how we design this team. We're going to have to out hit teams, and I think that kind of strategy is going to kind of take effect now with these guys heating up.
Yeah, it's funny you talk about Real Muto like the same way we talk about Schwarber, actually, because it's funny how like the type of players they are and the impact they make. Schwarber's always going to be so much more scrutinized when things like go bad offensively, because everyone knows what JT does on the defensive side, and even a smart base runner on a team that's really struggled with that. And then people realize that Schwarber's impact in like on defenses and on the base paths is not even close to Real Muto. So honestly, I'm ready for Schwarber to be back in the DH spot, permanent.
Yeah, you're right. And the thing about JT's game is, yeah, just kind of like you said, people know the intangibles that he brings to the diamond, and catchers kind of always get leeway with that. Even backup catchers, we kind of let those types of positions go because we know they have a lot on their plate, and it's a testament to JT that he can even do both sides of the game like he can. But yeah, Schwarber, the average was just such an eyesore that you can't hide from it. It's Major League Baseball, and he has the lowest average out of not just the Phillies lineup, all baseball. Like we're talking a minimum amount of at bats. He has the lowest average, and you just can't do that. Especially, it doesn't matter like who you really are. A major league player can't bat 160, especially with the defense he brings. So you're right there. He did get his fair share of criticism compared to JT and Trey Turner for the most part. I mean, those two guys who aren't catching, they heard it, but they're definitely turning it around now. And on top of that, health is kind of turning in our favor too. We saw Bomer come back. We saw Alvarado come back. Just feels like everything's amounting to something here. You kind of can see everything coming together. If I were to sum it up in one sentence.
No, I think that's a good way to put it. I think it's a great time to really get to full health, especially the way the Phillies are internal clock works. I mean, you might as well get hurt and get your injuries out of the way in April and May because it won't matter. I mean, your efforts don't always matter because we lose a lot of games we should win. But now they're back and everyone seems to be on the same page. Just from a headspace, it just seems like the team's kind of like in a better place. For
sure. I mean, you have Bomer coming back, who's our biggest RBI guy. Led the team in RBIs. Still leads the team in RBIs.
That's crazy.
2 weeks. No, I mean, people can criticize Bomer all they want for the power, but I mean, when the guy needs to drive in runs, he can drive in some runs, and it's something that people don't realize. But he's so good at that part of it. And then, I mean, just for a mental space, having Rhys Hoskins around this team, I don't know about you, and I don't know about the team, but it makes me really happy seeing him walking. They had him in the booth, and he sounds there's just there's something that Rhys Hoskins brings to this team that we can't quite pinpoint, but it's so valuable. And just looking forward to the rest of the season and the future. I hope he's around more, especially down the stretch run, because he's a stabilizing figure for not just the rookies, but for the veterans too. I've never heard anybody say a bad thing about Rhys Hoskins, and he's valuable just as much as on a personal side as he is in terms of production. And it was good to see him again, man. He's awesome.
Yeah, it was refreshing. It's the word. When I saw him all bearded up in the dugout, I was you know what?
I didn't know he could rock a beard like that.
No, I always kind of figured he was like gonna be a Yankee one day because he always had like the baby face while like everyone else tries the beard. But I guess he can.
Yeah, all to him. I remember he tried the mustache once, and it was not his best look. But the beard, he filled it out. It's a good look on Rhys.
Few men can pull off a mustache.
That's true. But yeah, no, he's back in the dugout. I don't know if he's going to travel, but I mean, we should see a little more of him for home games. He probably traveled out to the West Coast. He's from there, but yeah, he's around. Bomer's back. Alvarado is giving just a huge boost to this already good bullpen. He's going to be our highest leverage guy going forward, and the bullpen's not
Everything seems cool except for that fifth spot in the rotation, which is a black hole of death. It's not great
Yeah,
right now.
you kind of took me there. I was leaving that towards the end because I know you and I both have quite a bit to say. Real quick before we get to that, someone who's also finally healthy and producing and deserves a shout out. Actually, a couple of people deserve a shout out on the staff. I mean, Taijuan Walker among them. We probably owe him an apology. I don't even know if we owe him an apology.
I'm
He was
not.
pitching pretty bad. We were not happy with him, but he's looked good. He's looked good this past
Well,
couple starts.
I think he's. I don't think we owe an apology. I think this is what we're paying him to do. We'll see if he keeps it up now.
Yeah, where were you at on him getting upset about being taken out in the fifth inning? He was kind of throwing his glove around and making a scene. Do you like the competitiveness, or do you think that a guy of his caliber who's been iffy so far should probably just sit down and accept it?
Yeah, it was right, kind of in the middle for me, but I definitely understood Thompson's decision there. I mean, you look at his numbers; he loses his effectiveness incredibly in the sixth inning. And I mean, it almost looked like a bad decision when Soto let up like a moonshot, like right after. I knew that was going to get people upset, but no, I think he made the right decision. I mean, that's what the numbers say, and that's what baseball is. I mean, baseball leans on analytics now, and I feel like he should know that out of anyone.
Yeah, I actually just thought of the strangest parallel. It just it reminds me a little bit. Wow, that's so weird that you said it. We took Wheeler out in the World Series when his pitch count was low, and it was a huge people were questioning it. And we brought in the lefty to face Yordan Alvarez, and we gave up a bomb. And this time we brought in the lefty Soto to Freeman, and he gave up a bomb. The thinking it's such a bad parallel, but it's just immediately what I thought of. The
You're not
thinking,
far off with that one.
yeah, the thinking there is Taijuan Walker. He does lose effectiveness. This is the Dodgers. It's not the best Dodgers team we've ever seen, but it's the Dodgers, and they're good. And I personally agree with the decision to bring in a lefty to face Freddie Freeman because I don't want Taijuan Walker to face Freddie Freeman any more than he has to. But the thing is about Freddie Freeman is it doesn't matter. I mean, it just does. It doesn't matter who you bring in to face Freddie Freeman. So I mean, I could have rationalized rolling the dice with Taijuan Walker, but I do understand the conservative approach, and I think Thompson's kind of struggled finding that balance between what makes sense and what's working. It's not a huge theme yet, but it's probably something that we should think about. I don't know if he has the best feel for pitchers when they need to come in and out, especially the starters, and especially like Aaron Nola and some of the guys. I just feel like his touch has been a little iffy with that. But no, I do agree with the call. It's just it's weird seeing Taijuan Walker throw a fit in the dugout. It's not something I was expecting.
Yeah, I didn't have that on my bingo card either. That it was like weird. I mean, like it's like, are you gonna stop like doing this now? Like it's what it is.
He doesn't come off as a guy who would do that either.
Now I thought he would understand that type of decision, but good job by Schwarber getting right in there and getting right next to him and talking it through with him.
Yeah, Schwarber's that guy. But back on the rotation, where I was trying to go with that is Ranger Suarez has stabilized the rotation. I know you're a big Ranger Suarez guy, but Ranger's going to be one of those guys that when we 10, 15, 20 years down the road, no one's really going to remember him for stats. No one's really going to remember him for anything crazy. But we are really going to remember Ranger Suarez and the impact he has on this team. His legacy is I can already tell that his legacy in Philadelphia, it's going to be something. Just think back to those 2008, 2009 teams. He had all the stars, but there were guys on those teams that you just remember. Joe Blanton is a perfect example.
Ranger Suarez is the current day Joe Blanton.
Yes, exactly. You completely understand what I'm trying to say, but it's just he brings something more than what the stats are ever going to show.
Exactly.
And he's been great, and he's probably the guy I trust most in the staff. That title has just rotated between a bunch of people over the course of several weeks. But no, Ranger's been awesome, and it's a big theme, and it's a very critical turning point right now because We need production from the other 4 spots because, like you said, this 5 spot has become a disaster. I was listening to WIP, and
Oh
I
boy.
believe they said that we are 2-11 in games started by the 5 starter. Bailey Falter was 0-7 by himself, and he went down. And ever since then, we've had a revolving door of it's not even starter Matt Strom anymore. It's opener Matt Strom. Dylan Covey has been thrown out there as I don't even know what he is.
That's
Ineffective
got to
is
stop.
what he is.
That's
Yeah,
got
he's
to stop.
ineffective.
Andrew Vasquez is not a solution to this team. He can't be the long man either.
Yeah, so something's really got to give here, and the problem is, we touched on this last week, and we should probably kind of start thinking about doing that episode here soon because
yeah,
I want to get ahead of that because stuff starts happening in July. We're probably going to have to go get a starter, and that's fine. People get starters every offseason, every trading deadline, but there's not a ton out there, and we don't really have a ton of capital that is expendable. We're not like the Dodgers where we just have spare parts we can kind of toss away. The guys kind of towards the top of our farm system we really want to keep, so we have to really balance price versus production with who we're looking for, and it's going to be tricky. It's going to involve a lot of strategy on Dombrowski's part, but at this point it is a need. It's no longer a want, it's a need because we can't just throw a game away every 5 days. We can't. It's not going to work. It's just never going to work.
No, you're absolutely right. It's a formula for disappointment for sure. If we keep going like this, you have to feel confident in every single guy you're starting with, and you have to be confident that I think another just as big of an issue is who we have as like a long man in these type of games. Because even if we do have like bring up a different 5 starter, the tendency is they don't usually go as far in outings as your 1 and 2 and 3 guys. They usually just try to get you 5, maybe 4. In 2023, sometimes just 4 innings is like suitable for pitchers. So yeah, I mean it's
it's frustrating.
It's actually kind of stressful to think about.
I have a couple questions for you. So
hit me.
Who would you rather throw out there every 5 days? A, Bailey Falter, or B, Dylan Covey?
Oh my god!
Because I thought about it, and
Dylan Covey.
We brought it. You would go with Dylan Covey
as a starter, as an opener.
I thought about it, and we went kind of through all this trouble to get Dylan Covey here, and I was just thinking, are we really better off with Dylan Covey than we were with Bailey Falter? Because it kind of feels like we just switched out a lefty Bailey Falter for a righty Dylan Covey, and they're just doing the same thing.
It's a nice observation.
Yeah, but Bailey Falter at least he has some chemistry with the team and was here during the stretch run. Dylan Covey's just a stranger we brought in and hoped he would give us something, but I'm not even sure why we hoped that because he's been terrible since he's never been good. It's a really weird. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, what could they possibly be seeing in Dylan Covey that made them think that would work better than the Bailey Falter experiment?
I mean, I'm sure they just wanted like pluck him based off like stuff. Like he probably had like good potential that like with whatever, because like clearly the Phillies now kind of have like a way they go with pitchers when they acquire a pitcher. They teach them certain pitches and focus on like what the analytics are telling them about certain pitches. So maybe somebody had a sinker. I don't know, but it's not enough. So probably cut the dead weight. I think we're getting towards that point in the season where it's cut dead weight season like we did last year. Got rid of Familia and Didi. I think it's time to get rid of Dylan Covey and Josh Harrison.
Josh Harrison. That should have been my second question. So I'll throw it out there now. Who would you rather?
I'm passionate about this one.
Who would you rather have as our last bench piece? A, Josh Harrison, or B, Scott Kingery?
Jetpacks. We're already paying him $7 million.
That's what I'm saying. And he can play more positions, right? He can play center.
Yes, he can.
Yeah, it feels like
I feel like having him on the roster instead of Dalton Guthrie just makes way too much sense right now.
I like 80% of what Dombrowski does, but the other 20% drives me nuts because I just can't figure it out. I get that you wanted to bring in a veteran bat that can play a lot of positions, but man, I mean, Josh Harrison's old and the tools are they're gone. Like, let's be real here. He's not that guy anymore. And the idea was great. I can't say the same about Dylan Covey. I don't think that idea was ever going to work. But we're paying Scott Kingery. Just give him the last bench spot. He can play all these positions, and he's fast. He can give us nothing with the bat and play all the positions and be fast. And that's just the same thing Josh Harrison's doing. So what's the difference?
I mean, I would love for someone to make a list of what Josh Harrison can do that Scott Kingery can't do, because I don't think they'd get very far, because Scott Kingery is more versatile, has more pop at this point. He's faster. The only thing he doesn't have over Josh Harrison is that he's a veteran presence. But he also does have the thing that he came up in the minors with half the team.
That's true. And this is a team that probably doesn't need any veteran presence. We have plenty of veterans, so why are we trying to overdo that? Yeah, Schwarber is plenty in his own right, but we have JT and Castellanos, and the names go on and on. We don't need that extra guy. He's going to do nothing for us except waste poor John Middleton's money. I shouldn't say poor John Middleton. He's loaded. But no.
Super loaded.
That's another thought. I think Scott Kingery won Player of the Week too. He batted like 370. So
yeah, I read that today.
At this point, yeah, what else does the guy have to do to just get that last try? I mean, all you can do is throw him out there, and
I never would have advocated. I know, and I never would have advocated. Like, I was pretty hard after the last time he went down on him, and I thought it was pretty much over. I thought it was over for good. But at this point, like, it's purely based off of, like, I don't want him on there just because he's getting paid by us. I want him on there because he's a better option than Josh Harrison, and probably Dalton Guthrie in center field.
Yeah, I just like what he can bring to this team in terms of the defensive versatility. You can't even make an argument over like the platoon options. I mean, he's a righty just like Josh Harrison. It doesn't make any sense, but that's fine. I'm sure we'll probably either revisit this or something will happen and it'll work itself out. But no, it is.
I think something will happen soon. I have a feeling that Dombrowski is probably thinking the same thing as me right now.
Yeah, maybe he'll watch this episode. He might watch this episode, and we'll convince him.
We talk before every game.
Oh, you do? Yeah. He's got your number. It's a strategy call.
Close family friends.
Okay, cool. Pass that information along. One more question I had. Whatever happened to Christopher Sanchez? What happened to him?
It's a genuinely good question.
I figured you might know. I actually have no idea what happened to him.
Didn't he get hurt in AAA?
Recently?
I'm guessing.
I don't know. I thought he was an option at one point, and I just have never. I haven't heard his name once.
Guess not. I've been keeping my eyes on not Christopher Sanchez, but more the Mick Abel and Griff McGarry, who have been dealing, wondering why can't they go to AAA? They've been in AA a while. Why can't we move up to AAA? Are we really rushing them?
Yeah, I can kind of see an argument for keeping Mick there because he's still super young. But I mean, Griff is like
he's like 26 years old or something.
Yeah, Griff's ready for AAA. They're both ready for AAA, and I think they're kind of ruling them out for the season. If I had to guess,
silly.
I think they are, because if you really wanted them, we're not the team to call somebody up from AA. I don't think we've ever done that. But if you really wanted them to be a part of your rotation, what are we waiting for? Let's get the ball rolling there. It's the only thing I can think of.
At this point in time, like, why not try using Griff McGarry as an opener?
They like Dylan Covey. We have Dylan Covey.
Oh, yeah, because that makes sense. Why not just use the young guy that we invested draft capital in and have diligently developed for probably way too long for a college pitcher and give them a shot.
Yeah, if we want to
put them around some other big league talent, maybe it'll rub off.
If we want to pitch Dylan Covey every 5 days, we should probably just fully throw in the towel on that day and just give everybody off, so we just have like an extra rest day because we're just gonna lose. We're just gonna lose
we could give them a remote day.
Yeah, like a work from home day for everybody, and we can just get the same outcome, which is great. Great stuff. Oh man, I think that's all I have. Out in Arizona, we had the benches clearing. Not the benches clearing brawl. We had Torey Lovullo wanting a benches clearing brawl, and it didn't happen, and it was kind of weird, but that was cool, fun, different.
Yeah, I see what he was trying to do, kind of fire up the squad, and it did work. You can't say it didn't work. They came back and won that game after he got thrown. So that kind of did have the fire the team up effect. But, I mean, wouldn't you be a little bit mad if they were hitting your Rookie of the Year? I mean,
yeah.
Corbin Carroll's a god amongst men. That guy's incredible at baseball.
Corbin Carroll is a beast, man.
I did not know he had the pop he did. I didn't think he could hit this many home runs.
He might mess around and finish third in the MVP vote. He's insane, dude.
I mean, at this rate, yeah. But we'll see if he can keep it up. It's miraculous.
Those D-backs are pretty feisty. They're going to throw a very good
squad.
They're going to throw a wrench in this wild card race because we were not expecting the D-backs to be there. That's a team that is going to be – they're definitely going to be in it. I mean, they're 41-25. They're ahead of the Dodgers. So that's a theme that no one saw coming in this playoff race. But, I mean, good for them. They haven't been good in a pretty long time. So, I guess, they kind of deserve it. I mean, they always whoop us, I feel like.
Yeah, and I personally don't – I can't really hate on the D-backs. They're a team I'm enjoying this year. I love how their young rotation and the young offense. I'm just curious if, like, injuries start happening to them, if they'll be deep enough to sustain this. That I'm not sold on yet, but some of these young guys and Gurriel having a incredible year there too. It's just all coming together for them.
Yeah, they have South Jersey product Zach Gallen, so I guess you can kind of say that's why you're a big D-backs fan. But yeah, I have no beef with the D-backs. And another young team, we're getting so sidetracked here, but Orioles. It's fun seeing the Orioles again too. Those are two teams that I just haven't seen good in a minute, and it's nice seeing like. I'm always a sucker for the teams that kind of mold like a young core and like you watch them come up together. They're easy teams to root for most of the time because it's just all homegrown guys that are just having fun. The Reds, another perfect example. They're going to be fun with Ellie and all these young teams. It's kind of making me feel
Spencer
old.
Steer's a nice player too. There's
Steer. They have Matt McLean. India's
really
actually still pretty good. It's some good young talent on those teams.
No, you're right though. There's something to be said about teams that bring a core up together. Because teams even guys like us who aren't D-backs fans or Orioles fans necessarily, like you see it and it's just that is what building a baseball team is that's how it's supposed to be done. And now we just see this new way of how like the Steve Cohen era and how it's just stupid money in John Middleton's terms. And it's cool to see that you can win in a different way. It gives everyone hope.
Yeah, I think the word I'm looking for is I have like respect for those teams and those organizations and what they built versus I feel like I can't quite pinpoint the feeling for free agency built teams. But it's not the same. Like I feel like homegrown teams I kind of think of as like an underdog, and when you build a team through free agency, I feel like it's a cop out, and I don't like it as much. It's kind of weird.
You can even compare it to like why people enjoyed the idea of the process, because you want to see the players who the bad times started with still be there as a part of the core, like when they get good. You don't want the transition to being good just to switch your whole team. Fans don't like that. Maybe it wins games for owners and stuff, but fans like to. I mean, it was cool for us to grow up seeing players on the Phillies like Utley, and that core just our whole entire like childhood, and that's what creates lifelong fans in baseball. And the Orioles and D-backs are going to create a lot of fans.
Yeah, real quick, one more question, and it's a weird one. Would you rather
Man,
have this team here with all these players, or would you rather have had back when we were in high school? You remember all the top prospects. Would you rather have this team, or would you rather have had that young core that we believed in, the J.P. Crawfords, all those names? Would you rather have had them work out and become kind of what this team is? Like, what would you rather have? It's tricky because
wow,
you know what we got here, but man, it would have been fun if those guys worked out.
you're right. I mean, me and you have always been prospect lovers for a long time. It goes well past the past couple of years since we knew each other. We've been talking about top prospects constantly, but I still got to say this team. I think all the disappointment of me wanting players to work out a certain way, and then them over and over and over and over again not uh, meeting my expectations has made this like so much cooler.
I
Does that
agree.
make sense?
No, I completely agree. That's all very true, and it's become a team that we've kind of like grown to love, kind of like a homegrown team. I'm not quite sure how they did it. Maybe it had a lot to do with the run last year, but they've become a team that we kind of think of as our guys, and it's tough to do that through free agency. But I think we've kind of done it, and it's a testament to the front office and the leaders in the clubhouse because it feels like a homegrown culture even with these guys coming in from all different places.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're lucky to have like such good personalities too. Like people forget about that. Like when you're like watching players come up in the minors, you don't even know who they are. You just see their numbers every year. You're like, wow, like that 900 OPS is pretty sweet. Can't wait till that's in the big leagues. But
Yeah,
I mean, the Phillies now they're like a lovable bunch of weirdos, and they're hard to not love. Uh, but even like the teams like the '08 teams, like some of those teams, not that huge of personalities. We forget. I
nah.
mean,
Ali
like the
was
pitchers,
boring.
like
Ali was straight up boring most of the time. Let's be real here.
I mean, Jimmy and Ryan were a good time. Shane was a good time, but
Cole didn't
like
really
some of
say
the
anything.
like
Yeah,
Cliff Lee, Halliday, they were business. They were doing their jobs. These guys are doing that and more. It's different, and I'm glad it's different. It feels like a new era.
yeah, you're right. Yeah, so we kind of went on that little tangent there. With that being said, I am very jealous of the D-backs, and I wish we had a Corbin Carroll. If you're a D-backs fan, kindly let us know where we can find one, because he would work really well on our team. So yeah, no, definitely gonna be fun to watch him again tonight. You got anything? Got anything else? I mean, we're at the 32-minute mark already.
No, maybe take a nap before the game, guys. It's these late ones are rough to stay up to unless you're a night owl. But per usual, go Phils.
Yeah, well said. And as always, thank you guys for listening. I will say it again. If you guys like the Sixers, Eagles have training camp coming up soonish. All kinds of good Philly sports talk. Go check out Pick Swap Media and all their featured podcasts, putting out all kinds of good content as always. And we will talk to you guys next week. Thank you for listening.